hats off to Nina Turner for trying to transform the Democratic Party from the inside. We've talked a lot about it on, excuse me. I'm not editing that out, guys. It stays in. We've talked a lot on the show and debated it even in the super chat and in the comments, like, is the DNC worth saving? Many of you were like, no, get rid of it, just get a third party. Sometimes I definitely believe that. When I read this article that was in therealnews.com, it came out December 11th by Michael Sonato, I'll go into what Nina Turner says here about how she's like trying to change within the Rules Committee and get progressives in the DNC. And her tactic for going about it, you know, if it's effective, it could actually work. And why I have said in the past, why if we could reform the Democratic Party and make it a progressive populist party for everybody, for working class people, then there's already this fundraising infrastructure in place. I still think it's a massive challenge because the corporate Democrats that run that party, they get a lot of money and they will be voted out. They will, if they let progressives take in seats within the party, they're gone and they lose their money. So I see a huge amount of resistance happening. But I'll go into this article because the DNC Unity Reform Commission that Turner is a part of, she's obviously president of Our Revolution, and she's a member of this commission. They finished their recommendations of reform to the Democratic National Committee this past weekend, and here's what they asked for. They included a 60% reduction in superdelegates, more democratic rules in caucuses, greater DNC budgetary transparency measures, and the creation of an elected ombudsman committee to hold the DNC accountable during the presidential primaries. The recommendations will be sent to the DNC Rules and Bylaws Committee, who have 6 months to accept or propose amendments to the recommendations before the 447 DNC members vote on whether to enact the recommendation in the DNC's fall 2018 meeting. Nina Turner, I think you're awesome. I'm glad you're doing this because here's what I see. And my guess is, I don't know, this is just me guessing. I don't know Nina Turner at all. I don't know anyone within her organization. My guess is this is a great tactic because one of two things happens. The DNC wakes up and says, all right, we'll take all these things. Or they stifle it. They'll give a little couple of table scraps. And now Nina Turner and everyone at our revolution can just go, oh, we tried. They don't want to play ball. And go start a third party. Or join the Green Party or whatever. But here's what Nina Turner said. One of the things they're trying to do is open up the primaries, which the DNC flat out said no. They won't do it. You want to know why? Because here's why. Sanders closed primary contest to Clinton in New York, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and lost by thin margins in Kentucky, New Mexico, and Nevada, where independents were banned from participating, despite public tax dollars used to finance the primaries. This is the thing that drives me crazy. And I've heard neoliberal friends of mine say, yeah, but it's a party. They should be able to run it how they want. They get public money. So if you get public tax dollars to run your primary and you're holding primary elections in publicly funded buildings like schools and libraries and parks and all that stuff where elections are held in the primaries, then you can't just arbitrarily say this was all part of the DNC lawsuit that got thrown out. But you are then beholden to the taxpayers. You can't just say, oh, we're a private organization, we can do whatever we want. Then don't have elections. Then just do it like they used to do a couple hundred years ago. Just get in a closed room and a bunch of rich people go, oh, you're the nominee. I mean, they did that anyway when Hillary Clinton bought out the DNC in 2015. And then why have this fake democracy if you're going to shut out independents? This is why I back openprimaries.org, which is actively advocating and campaigning and trying to pass policy, and they've been successful in several states, of opening the primaries. But here's what Nina Turner had to say, because I love quoting her because she's so on it. So she said this. there's going to be a lot of organizing between now and then to get the members of the DNC to vote in favor of the changes that the Unity Reform Commission has recommended, said Turner. And she said this in an interview with the Real News Network. We need the grassroots. This is an insider's game, so the only people who get a chance to vote are the people who are members of the DNC. But we need the grassroots to use their voices to say to the DNC that they support the recommendations of the Unity Reform Commission. One way or the other, Nina Turner said, the DNC members will have a chance to weigh in on these changes and vote them up or down. So we need grassroots lobbying efforts to the members of the DNC to say these changes should happen to make this party more accountable and more transparent, and to have real unity in the Democratic Party is going to have to reform. Yeah, I can't even entertain voting for a Democrat until this shit happens. You know, I argue with some of these neoliberal DNC Kool-Aid drinking people on Twitter, and they just, oh, this is the party of opposition. They just have this delusion that it's only the Republicans are bad. Obama could have had universal health care in 2010. He was the president, Democratic House and Senate. Could have done it. A bunch of Republicans opposed it, and just enough Democrats opposed it or said, oh, it needs some changes, so we had to settle on Romney Care. A Republican health care plan is what Obamacare is. Now, Obamacare saves me money, and it's better than nothing, but it could have been actual universal health care for everybody. It's the Democrats are such little punks. They vote everything down like that. And they run their crooked little primaries, and we're supposed to, oh, because they're not as evil as Trump? I mean, Roy Moore lost in Alabama, which I'm glad, but who won? A corporate Democrat won. So it's a corporate Democrat beats a pedophile. Okay. That's politics in America, I guess. Those two awful parties. It's just someone who is just abhorrently evil and an abuser, and then just corporate awful sellouts. That's my choice, not a pedophile. That's my choice. Whew, wow. Wouldn't it be great if we had an actual election where people said, like, man, I'd be happy if either one of these candidates won because they're so strong. I'm just leaning this one candidate on these extra couple of issues, but I like both of them. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't we have an actual democracy if that's what was happening? We don't. We have a kleptocracy, and a bunch of oligarchs control the party. Clintons. Here's what Nina Turner also said about opening the primaries. We pushed hard to open up the primary process to all voters, believing that the independent voter that is leaning Democratic will come in and vote and help. And they rejected that flat out, said Turner. Democrats can't win without independent voters, so to me it's short-sighted to say to them, you're not wanted in the primary process, but come and save us in the general. We can't have it both ways, Nina Turner. Boom! I love it. She just knocks people out with her words, man. Turner says that only by gaining access to these local seats can progressives make real change. The more people we can get elected as committee persons and chair and vice chair persons, the more that we can impact what happens on the national level, she said. So I want people to run if they really care about working inside the party. So those of you that believe the DNC can be saved, then go do this. I appreciate that. And I hope Nina's successful. You know, I have my doubts. And as I said, maybe it's time we need a third party. And when the DNC rejects all of these things, that might just happen. But she's not wrong. If you get progressives in all of these key positions within the party, then you're going to start to see changes. But be careful, because there's a lot of corporate money that does not want this to happen. So right on for Nina Turner, man. I love hearing her speak. I love what she's doing. I hope she's successful. And I hope I'm wrong about the DNC. I hope I'm wrong. But either way, if the DNC stonewalls her and her organization, I hope she just goes, all right, let's do it. Me, Bernie, Tulsi, let's do it. Let's start our own thing. I'm so down with that if that happens. December 17th, come out if you're in San Bernardino in the Southern California. It is FNX, the First Nation Experience, is a PBS channel. They're a non-for-profit channel. So if you buy a ticket to the December 17th show or any of the shows coming up, you can write it off. It's a tax deduction. They're a 501c3. So you're supporting Native American stand-up comics, Native American arts and culture is what FNX is, and you get a tax deduction. So come on out February 17th. It's in the show notes, my grahamelwood.com website. All my tour dates are there. Thank you for watching and listening.